Welcome to Business Skills Week 13. We are winding down. Let's get started. This week we will examine GERMAC Chapter 6, where we're going to look at impact and sustainability. And we're also going to look at the law of modeling. And it appears we're going to look at aspirations for change again. No, we're going to look at motivational interviewing asking. So, chapter 13 looks like I repeated some of the things from chapter 12. So we're just going to skip that in the slide and go on to measuring performance. How does your agency measure performance? How does how you perform fit into your business plan and how you move forward in producing let's start over. How does measuring your performance move forward in how you produce outcomes, how you envision your future, how you set goals, how you decide what will be part of your business plan? Each agency has different measurements. Some people use surveys, others use narratives. Knowing what is your guiding process, what is guiding the process of your business plan is an important part of being a transformational leader. Oftentimes, a logic model is the primary way, and it's a useful tool for mapping out the social impact of the program of the organization. It traces the service beneficiary, so who's going to benefit from the services. It puts traces input, output, timelines, activities, measures. The logic model is a really good way to measure where we're going with the business plan. And so you'll notice in some of our readings that it gives you more information on this. This is a very important tool when writing a grant. Usually when I'm grant writing, I start with the logic model. I start with what do I want my outcomes to be? What will be my goals and objectives? What's my timeline? Who are the people that are going to be committed to it and for how long? And I develop the logic model first, then go and write the grant. It makes it really easy so that when you're going section to section, you can spell it out based on what you've already placed in this logic model. And then I usually include the logic model as a resource if the grant didn't ask for one, because it's a good graphic to show where you're going, how you plan to get there, and what resources will be needed to go. Our law of modeling this week from Maxwell says, it's hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. That is such a powerful comment. I suggest that you find a mentor and look for a coach who's already been where you're going and allow them to help you to grow. It allows you to grow quicker. So for me as a faculty member working towards tenure, I looked for mentors that had already received tenure, that knew what I needed to do for publications, that connected me with resources to get published. It's important as clinicians that we do the same thing, that we work with people that model the goal of who we want to be as a clinician, what we want to learn. If there's someone who has their own private practice and you want a private practice, find them. If you work at an agency and you plan to move up in supervision, find someone who's already a supervisor. There's coaches to help us get to where we need to get to. The law of modeling is really important for clinical social workers because it allows us to work with those who have already done the work so that we can cut down our process of how we become better, transformational, and daring leaders. 15 invaluable laws of growth. There are 5 common characteristics of good coaches. The C is that they care for people they coach. The O is that they observe their attitudes, behavior, and performance. The A is that they align them with their strengths for peak performance. The C is that they communicate and give back about performance. And the H is that they help to improve lives and performance. Find yourself a good coach that can help you grow as a social work clinician. Our motivational interviewing concept for this week is asking, and it's reviewing back at the beginning where we talked about asking questions. It's talking about trying to ask and listening to what's asked, right? Asking and listening fit together naturally and complement each other. Sometimes asking is harder than listening, and sometimes listening is harder than asking. So think about what questions that you need to know how to ask. Like, make yourself a template. Try to ask open rather than closed questions. Try not to ask two questions in a row. Offer at least two reflections for every question you ask so that the process of the conversation isn't question, 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 question. Coming up with a routine of when to ask, how to ask is a very important template for us to follow in motivational interviewing. So in between asking, we listen. And as part of that process, we summarize what you understood, what you understand. If it involves change talk, then we suggest a change in directions. Um, Being honest about time limitations, what you can do, what you can't do, what you expect for the person that you're working with about change, and acknowledging the value of what you've heard, affirming. We talked about that in another week of our modules, affirming the individuals that you are speaking to. So when you think about motivational interviewing and what we've been learning over the last 12 or 13 weeks, where do you rank yourself on the scale? Now, I know that we only introduce short concepts of motivational interviewing throughout the course, but motivational interviewing is a part of the change process and a core concept that we use in working in substance use and recovery and mental health. And more principles will be introduced in other classes. This was a way to show you how motivational interviewing is not just a clinical skill, it's also a skill that we can use as a part of supervising and the management and leadership process. I hope that you enjoy learning those different skills. We have one more week of PowerPoints and PowerPoint lectures, and you will be finished with the course. Wow, time has gone by fast because we were having so much fun. I'll see you next time.